to sleep, I pray the Lord that I wake again. I wake again, I pray the Lord that I now I lay me down to sleep, I pray the Lord that I wake again. I wake again, I pray the Lord that I wake again.
Welcome to Wellness Tuesdays. I am your author and coach, Nadira Lewis, and I'm excited to be able to discuss an amazing topic with you today about time and energy. Guys, this is really important. It's amazing. Get your pen and paper. You are going to learn something today. We are going to talk about how time and energy affects your health. And so I know a lot of you might be wondering, like, well, what do you mean by that? What is it that, why is this such a concern for you? Why is this topic even something worth discussing? Because it seems pretty clear what time and energy is, right? But we're going to break it down a little bit more differently. And I'm going to bring a little bit more reality to it and help you to be able to really look at your life in terms of how you see time and energy, and when it comes to your life, when it comes to your family, and most of all, when it comes to your business. So let's look at what time actually means. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1 through 13. And I want to read this because this is pretty interesting. Okay. So Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1 says, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up, a time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get, a time to lose, a time to keep, a time to cast away, a time to rend, a time to sow, a time to keep silent, and a time to speak, a time to love, a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace." So, as you can see here, there's a lot to think about. There's a lot that's said in that. So it tells me, when just reading this, that time is really important. King Solomon actually expressed these sentiments in Ecclesiastic, because this is what he felt like. This is his writing. He wrote this in Ecclesiastics. So, we assume that it was, King Solomon. I'm going to just say that we assume it was King Solomon. So when you think about time, according to definition, I should say, is the measured period during which an action, process, or condition exists. A measured period during which an action, process, or condition exists, right? Or continues. So when you think about time is a specific measured amount of period in which something, whether it's an action, process, or condition, exists or continues. So think about some of the things that we use our time to do. When you get up in the morning, this is what the average person does when it comes to utilizing their time. We sleep, we eat, we work, and we start the process all over again. We eat, we sleep, we work, and for some, maybe travel, but the cycle starts all over again. And before you know it, we don't even really realize how much time actually goes by. how much things that could be done that we don't get done because we take time for granted, right? And as you can see here, King Solomon said there's a time, there's a time and there's a season and a time for every purpose under the heaven. That means that God has specifically set a certain amount of years. He's allotted a certain amount of years to your life for you to complete the very thing that he has put on the inside of you. So I had said in a broadcast on Sisterhood Check-In, and I said how we take time for granted and we look at it as, the same time we have available now, we tend to feel like we're going to have that time tomorrow. And that's just not always the case. For some of us, we're blessed to be able to live the next day. But how does that affect your health? In a whole lot of ways, right? Because when you don't value the time, or you don't be a good steward over your time, it can affect your sleep, right? It can affect your mood. You can have increased irritability, sleep deprivation, and it can affect your motor skills. Most people don't even realize that even when we go through this, what we call time change, where we actually have, or daylight savings time, should I say. What happens is sometimes when we lose an hour, we're losing sleep, we're losing time. So every time we take an hour off of our, and I say time in terms of it, the hour is not really taken from us, it's just redirected in a different way. So, because I mean, even though we're allotted 24 hours out of the day, really it's still 24 hours. It's just how that 24 hours is actually used. So, when you think about time and how it affects your health, we have to look at our routine, right? We have to look at the things that we actually do that actually starts or encourages our routine, right? So if you know that you have to work 8 hours in a day, whether it's through a job or whether you're working your own business, you might be working 12 hours a day. I think we need to be better at being a good steward over the time and looking at time holistically and saying, you know what? Though I may be such and such age, whether it's 30 or 40 or 50, and I think sometimes the older you get, the more you appreciate time, because you realize you don't that your time limit here on earth is starting to dwindle down, especially when you get in your 60s. So I want you and me, because I think about this too, to look at time differently and look at it as an opportunity for God for us to fulfill whatever it is that God has called us to do, so that we can be productive, and so that we can live and not just work ourselves to the point to where we are exhausted, not work to the point of exhaustion and we don't have anything to show for it. What do you have to show for the time that you have during the daytime? Are you just is all of your time dedicated to just working and you don't have any rest? You don't spend time with your family or your husband or your children or your loved ones? How are you spending your time? Because in the end, when you get ready to pass away or when you get ready to die, trust me, at the end of the day, you're not going to be concerned about if you got your work finished. You're not going to be concerned about whether or not, if I fulfilled this, if I finished that. You're going to realize that because of the time that you have left, whether it's little or a lot, somehow when you get sick, you think about those things, right? I know me, when I had COVID-19, I started to think about that. What am I couldn't do nothing. When I got sick, it was nothing I could do, right? All I could do was rest. All I could do was rest, take care of myself. And that was actually the best thing for me, to rest and take care of me, because I spend so much time taking care of my girls and taking care of my family and taking care of the household, taking care of my business. And it's not until you're in a position to where you feel like you can't do anything about, your home, your work, or anything like that. And you have to take care of yourself. You tend to look at time a little bit differently. And I'm sure you can agree with that. And if you have felt like that, put it in the comments. Let me know what your experience was like. And so when I think about time, We tend to see it differently when we are sick or on our deathbed. We tend to realize or start to bring to the front of our mindset what really matters. And that's how I want us to see time even now. I want us to see time as a gift, right? Because if we see time as a gift, then we won't spend so much time dibbling and dabbling and doing things that are meaningless and that don't add value to who we are. You'll realize that, you know what, I have to make better decisions so that I can be able to redeem the time. The Bible tells us to redeem the time, means to take back the time, right? So in First Chronicles chapter 12 verse 32, when King David was gathering an army together at Hebron, he distinguished the sons of Issachar from the ranks because of their unusual gift to discern the times. Their understanding made known to the king that the sons of Issachar knew what Israel ought to do. The gift of discernment is valuable in times of uncertainty. Most people are so preoccupied with their personal daily lives that they cannot properly discern the times. And this is why I wanted to name this topic the way I did, how time and energy affects your health. When you don't redeem the time, or when you're not able to discern the times, you'll start doing things out of season and don't even realize it. When you realize there's no fruit or no productivity to what you do, it could be that you're out of time, right? Discernment is one of those things that help us to be able to know the time that we live in. It's important to know and to have discernment to know where you are in your life right now, where you are in your spiritual life, where you are in your business, where you are emotionally, physically. If you know you're 40 years old, 50 years old, you're not 20 anymore. So there are some things that you're not going to be doing that you may have done in your 20s because you are in a different time frame, right? There are some things that you might be doing that you might be in your 20s and 30s, and there are some things that you may have yet to do, like some people that may be doing in their 60s, 50s and 60s. Normally people in their 50s and 50s and 60s have different habits than those that are in their 20s, 30s, or 40s, right? You have different habits based on your discernment of the time. How do I know that? Because when you're 20, you go, 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 go. Sometimes even in your 30s, you're just going, 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 going. You're not paying attention to, the time of the day. You're up early, or you sleep late and you up early, or you're up or you're sleeping late and getting up late, depending on who you are, because you don't have any discernment of the time. You feel like you have all the time in the world, right? So your habits are going to be different from somebody that is maybe in their 40s, 50s, or 60s. I believe that, and I can talk about the 40s because I'm 47. I'll be 48 in February, right? So I know that in my 40s, there are some habits and things that I do because I am in my 40s. It means that I am not going, 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 going. Because one, I realize I redeemed the time. I realize that, number one, that I am a mom and that I actually, I'm running, several different types of businesses. So I need my energy. So I know that I don't have the energy that I did when I was in my 20s. So I'm not going to use my time like I did in my 20s. I'm not going to be running, running, running. Like in my 20s, it was different. I still had kids, but I had the energy and the wherewithal to just run and go and practically run on 2-3 hours of sleep, because that was, my body was accustomed to that. But the older you get, the more you have to discern where you are in your life. I know that I can't stay up all times of the night, because I know I get tired. It's amazing that I'm even up doing shows during the time that I do it, because I get sleepy at like 9-10 o'clock. I be ready to fall out, but I stay up. When I know that I have to do a broadcast, I take me a nap. You better believe that. I seen a meme going around, and it said that if you are actually over the age of 40, that you and you're outside after 9 o'clock, then you took a nap. And I would have to say I second the motion to that, because if I don't take me a nap, oh my gosh, I am not going to be able to stay up to do sisterhood check-in or any other check-in or broadcast, because my body tends to get tired because I get up early in the morning. My days start early as 5 in the morning. So, and I don't sometimes end until, maybe 11:30, and I'm exhausted, because of the activities that I have in that time frame. So I know that if I have a full day of responsibilities or things that I have to do, I know that rest at this season in my life, I'm able to discern that rest is crucial in order for my body. Now, my mind may want to keep going, and I might feel like I can go all day long in my mind, but my body will remind me of a different time and season that I'm in, right? So when King David, we was talking about right here with King David, um, he actually he gathered the army of Hebron, and he distinguished that the sons of Issachar from the ranks because of their unusual gift to discern the times. Their understanding was made known to the king, that the sons of Issachar knew what Israel ought to do. There has to be a time in your life where you have to know, where you're not going to have to depend on people to tell you what to do. You're going to just have to discern. You're going to have to know. And the only way you're going to know is that you have to get before God and ask God to show you, and ask him to give you discernment of the time that you are in your life. That's something I've been really really just focusing on in my own personal life, knowing that I'm in a different season in my life. I have to be wise and determine and discern the time that I'm in. Like I gave the example, I can't be running all of that. I noticed that in this time and season, for the things that I have to do, I know that I need to rest, right? I also know that I need to eat better. I need to eat healthier. I feel like I look younger now because there's things that I'm applying to my day-to-day life that I didn't do in my 20s and 30s. I didn't really care what I ate in my 20s and 30s. I ate whatever was good. I'm a chicken lover, and I wasn't a real big candy eater, but I do like the snack. I still like the snack. And so I know that the time that I'm in now, that my body requires a lot of sleep. And not only does my body require a lot of sleep, it also requires me to eat healthy to be able to function in this season of my life. I need the energy. And we're going to talk about in the second half how energy contributes contributes to your health overall. So I know that in this season, in this season of my life, I need to have discernment of the time. I need to know I need to be cautious of how I spend my time. So I know I can't be out and about all day long, because I know that with me still having young children, even at the age that I'm at now, I have to be able to balance my time with them and with my work and my time with God, right? So balance is key to me discerning the time that I'm in right now. And not only that, like I said, I have to manage what I eat. So that means I can't just walk around here just eating like I did in my 20s, where I could, now if I eat something, my body automatically responds to it, because I have spent so many years of my life eating a certain way. So now my body responds to it immediately, where before I may have not had any type of issues with it. Now, if I eat something, even when I eat breakfast, it's crazy, y'all. If I eat breakfast at first thing in the morning, and I love breakfast. To me, I think breakfast is my favorite part of the day, just being honest, right? And I'm a bacon lover. I love bacon, right? But since I've been changing a lot of my eating habits, when I get up in the morning and the first thing I do is eat bacon and eggs, within 30 minutes, I'm starting to feel tired. I remember the other day I was out and I was driving. I was so sleepy, y'all. I was so tired. I ate breakfast. This was around 8:30. Around 8:30, I had breakfast. By like 9:30, I was feeling sluggish and I was feeling tired. I was feeling like I just wanted to take a nap. And then I realized, wait a minute, what is it that I've done differently? So I was like, man, I'm just feeling tired by like 9:30. Like I want to lay down and I want to start my naps at 9:30. And knowing with all the responsibilities and things that I have to take care of in the daytime and do, there's no way I can take a nap at 10:30 because then I'll be asleep the majority of the day. And that time I cannot get back. Because as I mentioned, you only have your lifetime to do what God has called you to do. You don't get extra time. You can't go to God and say, okay, give me an extra, it's 24 an hour. Can you give me 4 more hours and make it 28 hours? It's just not going to happen. So you only have your time to accomplish whatever it is that God want you to do. So I know if I only have a certain amount of hours to be functionable and productive, I can't sleep. If I'm sleeping 6 of them already through the night, I can't go and add, now I still will take my naps in the daytime, but I'm not napping as much because I'm getting more rest at night because I go to sleep. I take my naps in the daytime, and I'm cutting back on a lot of activities that are not really contributing to my overall health. So I'm wise enough and discerning enough to know that I just can't function the way I did in my 20s, and I'm okay with that because I'm functioning at a different level. So now when I get up in the morning, and I've seen this on TikTok so many times where people were saying, "Oh, it's best to start your day eating, fruits and stuff like that." And I was saying to myself, ain't no way in the world, from me being a bacon lover and to getting up in the morning eating, I felt like on Coming to America, juices and berries. Like, what? Ain't no way in the world. But I tried it, right? So I said, oh, let me just see if this works. Let me just see. So what did I do? I made me a bowl of, I took the foundation of how we make nice cream. And for those of you that were watching Charmaine and I on Thanksgiving with our kids, we created what's called nice cream. So I took some bananas and some oat milk, and I mixed it together and I put it in a bowl. And I had some berries, some raspberries, all the berries. I had all the berries that have the seeds in it. I had raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, and I had some coconut whipped cream, right? Coconut made from coconut. It was vegan whipped cream. So I was eating it, right? And I added some what do you call it? I think it was graham, or the little clunks of the little grams. So I put some of that in there and I started to eat it. And when I tell you my body felt, it is so true. I used to think people were just over exaggerating when they say when you eat live living fruits and vegetables, your body feels different. And I used to think, that's just an exaggeration. That's easy to say because you've been a vegan, you've been a health fanatic. But I can honestly say, guys, that ever since I've been eating the way that I have, I'm telling you, my body literally feels alive. Like, I literally feel alive. So I realized that in the morning, sometimes I cannot eat the way I used to eat if I want to function at the level that I'm functioning at. I realize it's just not going to happen. So I said, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I said, in the mornings, I'm going to get up. I'm going to make me something light that includes berries and fruit. And that's going to be my breakfast, right? I'm going to eat that and I'm going to see how my body feels. When I tell you, I gained more time in the daytime, because that from 9:30 to 10:30, where I would have felt like tired and exhausted, it's no longer there. I don't have that sluggish feeling anymore. I get up in the morning and I'm like, okay, I have to do this. I'm fully functionable. I'm not exhausted. I'm not tired. And I didn't really eat till around, I want to say 11:30, and I had something really, really light. And I was able to function throughout the day as if there was nothing going on. And I thought to myself, I'm like, girl, you are good. Like, you really got this thing down. Like, okay, I'm seeing something different. This is new. Okay, I'm seeing something different. And so by the time dinner came, it was easy for me to be able to, to be able to eat a light dinner. Like, I ate a light dinner before, I actually started this broadcast. And guys, I'm telling you, I feel amazing. I feel pretty amazing. And I said to myself, I said, wait a minute. So you mean to tell me that all this time, now we're still talking about time, right? All this time, I've been sitting over here making my body just suffer, just struggling, trying to pop all this stuff for energy, right? before I realized and came to the awareness of ginger, of course, you know. And I realized, wait a minute, I'm popping all this stuff for energy and stuff like that when all I had to do was make a few adjustments. It doesn't mean that this is the total wherewithal, but it just means that I made some adjustments. And I realized, wait a minute, I might be on to something here. So, and I've been doing that for for the past like week or two. And I'm telling you guys, it has changed my life. I feel amazing. And I even feel like I look I can tell the difference in the way I feel and in my skin. I could tell the difference in I've gotten rid of some of my double chin, because a lot of the weight has come off. And not only that, detoxing and drinking herbal teas will give you some time. It will give you time because when you eat right, when you're eating the right foods in the right proportions, you will give yourself time. You will it's almost like you're giving yourself time back to your body, right? And even though you may not be able to control every living circumstance that happens throughout the week or the day, the fact of the matter is that you will start to feel better because now you got because most of the time we can't accomplish some of the stuff that we want to do in the daytime if we're eating, crazy, eating a lot of sugary, high carbohydrate diet. You start to feel sluggish. And then when you're sluggish, you don't get anything accomplished. I don't know about you, but when I'm tired, I don't get nothing done. I'm exhausted. I'm ready to sleep. And for you to feel sluggish and tired the first thing in the morning after you eat what's considered a good breakfast, I had to stop and realize and say, okay, wait a minute. I'm getting older. My body is changing. So I have to be able to do things and change how I'm putting food in my body, how I'm resting so that I can be fully functional and I don't look like old grandma at 47 years old. Because you could put on makeup and enhance whatever you're doing. But let me tell you something, makeup only enhances or should only enhance what's already there. It should not be totally reproducing a whole new face just to avoid, that's the one thing I think is the imbalance when it comes to makeup and stuff. I'm a skincare and I'm an esthetician. I'm a licensed esthetician, skincare specialist. And one of the things that I've always focused on, even when I was doing my skincare product, is I always told my clients that, you can do temporary things like, you can go to MAC and MAC can give you some stuff that'll make you look like you are a whole new person. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're taking care of your body from the inside out so that you can not only just look good, but that you can add years back to your life, right? Every time you eat, that saying that says an apple a day keeps the doctor away. I was never really a big Apple fan. I'm telling y'all, I was never really a big Apple fan. But now I have incorporated things that I normally wouldn't have liked to incorporate it because I was comfortable in my comfort zone with my comfort food, right? So it didn't, and so though I may have been comforted by having, that pint of ice cream because I'm telling you, I can go to town on some ice cream and eating, Pepperidge Farm cakes and cookies. Oh my God, I love cookies. And I realized that I was just getting sluggish. My stomach, my gut was getting bigger. And all I wanted to do was just sleep. I only had enough energy and I was losing a lot of time. So I wasn't discerning the time and wasn't being a good steward over the time that God has given me. And I want to read you something. Luke chapter 12, verse 54 through 56. Jesus was critical of his generation for their inability to discern the times. He said, this is what it says in Luke 12:54, verse 56, right? And this is what Jesus said about not being a good steward over time. He said, then he also said to the multitudes, whenever you see a cloud rising out of the west, immediately you say a shower is coming, right? And so it is. And when you see the south wind blow, you say there's going to be hot weather. And there it is. Hypocrites, you can discern the face of the sky and of the earth, but how is it that you do not discern this time? Right? Why did Jesus rebuke them? Mostly because they were so steeped in their culture and religious tradition that they missed what was right in front of them, right? The Messiah they read about in the synagogue all their lives was with them, and yet they could not discern the times. Don't allow seasons to come through and opportunities to come for you to be the person that God, because God has given each of us, like we said, we read in where King Solomon said, for everything there's a time and season, right? Don't allow your time, the time and seasons that God has given you. Don't take for granted that you have that you always have time to do whatever it is that He has for you to do. I think I did a broadcast a couple of months ago, and I was saying how if you don't operate in your season, you're useless. So, and I gave the example of the fig tree, right? And I said that how Jesus cursed the fig tree because it was time for that fig tree to bear fruit at that particular time, and it didn't. And Jesus was upset about it. He rebuked it and said that you ain't going to never bring forth fruit again. So that tells you how much God, how much Jesus values time. And so we ought to look at that and look at our lives and not take our lives for granted and think that we have all the time in the world. Most people are in the grave ahead of their season because they thought that they had all the time in the world. Oh, I'll just do it tomorrow. Oh, I'll just do this. I got time. I'll just do this. No, we have to be better stewards over time and realize how and look at it the way God looked at it, is that, it's important for us to understand the times that we in. That's why when people come to me and they try to redirect me in a different direction, I know the plan that God has for me. So when I start to see people start to push me in a direction that's not in this time or season that I'm in, I'm able to discern and say, no, I can't do that. No, you can't shift me this way, because this is the time where I am now is where I'm supposed to be. And I have to make sure I'm fully functional in the purpose of God and the purpose of God for my life in this moment, in this season, because I don't know how long this season is going to be. I feel like God has opened up a door and a season for me to do exactly what I'm doing. And I have to operate in the season, or I'm going to be completely useless for what it is that He want to do in my life, right? Paul speaks to that same generation about knowing the times. The sons of Issachar had understandings of the times. Jesus rebuked his generation for not discerning the times. And Paul admonishes us to know the times in Romans chapter 3, 11 through 14. It says, and do know this, knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now our salvation is nearer than when we first believed. The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Therefore, let us cast off the works of darkness and let us put on the armor of light. Let us walk properly as in the day, not in revelry and drunkenness, and not in lewdness and lust, not in strife and envy, but put on the Lord Jesus Christ and make no provisions for the flesh to fulfill his lust. The primary difference between the Old Testament and the New Testament is relating to the times, right? Is that Jesus and Paul introduced eternity, salvation, which brings everlasting life, to the underpinning of the rebuke from Jesus and admonishment from Paul. During the times in which we live, there is a temptation to focus on daily living more than eternal living. And I think that is what I really want to drive in, is that in today's world, we don't think about anything past today. We don't think about eternity. Heck, we barely think about tomorrow, right? We only think about today. And so that's why we make choices the way we do. We do what we want to do because we live in for today. I don't care who actually is going to I don't care who's gonna actually who I'm affecting, whose life I'm affecting. I just know I don't see time. This is really, I'm sorry guys, give me a moment, because sometimes when I get phone calls, it just literally throws me off in the middle of my broadcast. So let me just do this real quick and then we can continue. Okay. Sorry about that. Kind of throws my thought off. But we don't tend to think about time the way we don't think about time the way people do when you're, especially like I said in the beginning, in your 20s and 30s, the way you do in your 50s and 60s. I think the older you get, the more you appreciate time. And because you appreciate time, your choices reflect that revelation of how you feel about time. So you're not spending a whole lot of time wasting it, being frustrated about different things. When you really are a good steward of the time and aware of where you are in your season in your life, you think totally different. You don't handle situations the same. You don't handle trials and tribulations the same. It doesn't mean that you don't still feel the effects, that you don't still be human and deal with the effects of that. But you realize, you know what? Because time is not promised to me, I can't focus all of my energy into something, because to something that's not going to gratify or bring edification or help me in the time and season that I'm in now, right? So when God does a new, it's okay. So for those that are in Christ, we need to be like the sons of Issachar, so that we know what to do in this new environment. This is not a time to look back, and we must discern the times in such a way that we have understanding, not just discernment, but understanding of the times. We are in a total different season than we were 5 years ago. Heck, not even 5 years ago, 2 years ago. Before COVID, you may have had a certain way of how you saw life. You may have had a certain way of how you operated during the day. But once COVID hit, a lot of people changed the way they saw life, the way they saw, even the way we work is different. The way we work nowadays is different. So I'm going to take a quick break and we're going to continue this conversation. And then we're going to go ahead and continue on our second part. For those of you that are just joining, thank you for watching. Make sure you put hashtag replay if you are watching us on replay. And if you are watching us live, put it in the comments and tell me, what do you do to show good stewardship and how you appreciate the time that you have for your life? I want to hear from you. So put it in the chat and we'll see you right after this. Author, life, and business coach, founder of the Becoming a Woman of Proverbs, Wisdom, and Entrepreneur Academy. Thanks so much for stopping by our site. Make sure you check out our on-demand courses. And if you have any questions or you would like to book a call with me, make sure you click the link below and we'll go ahead and get you started on the way to becoming the best version of who you were ordained to be. All right, and we are back. And our topic for discussion today is how time and energy actually affects your overall health. And we have been talking about time and how time is measured. It's a measured period during which an action, process, or condition exists. And we talked about how time affects your when you don't get enough sleep, that time that you usually would spend sleeping and resting, because a lot of us sleep, we just don't always get rest, that it can cause you to have sleep deprivation and affect your motor skills. It can lead to mood disruptions and irritability, right? And so we were talking about how Jesus condemned his generation for not discerning the time that they're in, right? And so I stressed about the importance of understanding and really taking accountability and being a good steward over the time that we have, because we don't always know, tomorrow's not promised to us, right? And so we got to stop living like we have all the time in the world, and we should be living each and every day as if it's our last, because none of us know when God is going to call us home. I'm sure, like I said, there's a lot of people in the grave that thought that they had enough time to do whatever it is that they need to do. So we don't want to get to a point to where our death becomes a complete shock, because we're not ready for when God calls us home. But we want to be able to say as much as possible that we have lived our life in accordance to the will of God for our life, because the Bible tells us that the will of God is made known to us intuitively. So there's some things that God has put on the inside of us that we already should be able to actively do, because it's been put there intuitively. There's some things that are already instilled inside of us that help us identify and give us clues to be able to know exactly what we're supposed to do in this season in our life. So the second half we're going to talk about is energy, right? So what does energy mean in terms of the definition? So energy means the strength and vitality required for sustained physical or mental activity. So, in order for you to be able to have energy, how many of you see people, they walk around, they just look like they're just full of life and energy, and they're just bouncing around? That's because there is strength and vitality, right? That's sustaining their physical and mental activity. So, when you look at somebody that's full of energy, they're full of life, there are some things that they are incorporating into their physical activity and into their mindset, their mental activity, that's helping them become or feel energetic, right? And for some people, you might be taking a no dose, and for some people, you might be drinking ginger. Like me. But there are some things when you are taking natural things, particularly that increase your energy, it increases your productivity, and it adds more time to your life for you to do. You have the time, and you feel like you can accomplish whatever it is that you had to do for that particular day, right? When you're tired and you're sluggish and you don't have any energy, you can't really do the things that you really desire to do, because you're tired. You don't have any sustained physical and sometimes mental energy, right? And so eating habits affect your energy. Sleep affects your energy. When you're thinking, how you think in a day, how you start your day affects your energy. If you get up in the morning and you are strategic about how you start your day, you are going to have your day is going to end up differently than somebody that just pops up out of the bed and just lives haphazardly and doesn't and not living on and living on default, living by default. And when I mean default, I mean you just get up and you just going through the mundane routine of getting up, going to work, coming home, going to sleep, getting up, going to work, come home, go to sleep, versus somebody who gets up and they're intentional, whether they're getting up and they're praying and they're, inviting God into their day. And I'm telling you, studies have shown that when you get up and you are intentional with your day and you're starting your day acknowledging the Lord, and you are spending time, being able to allow him to direct your day, the energy level that you have for the day goes totally different. When I get up and I am taking time to just meditate on the word of God, and I take time to really sit down and figure out exactly what my day is going to be like before I just bounce out of the bed, my day goes totally different. I start my day and I'm listening to inspiration and I'm listening to the Bible and allowing only positive and truthful, because everything that we hear is truth. Doesn't always feel positive, but if it's truth, right? So sometimes we got to be prepared. Sometimes I think too, if we don't prepare our mindset, even the things that we need to hear that are truthful will be stinging. You won't even have the capacity to receive even the things that are true about areas that of your life that you may need to correct, or areas of your life that you may need to fix. And we don't talk about that. We only talk about feeling good. Oh, I only like positivity. Well, telling the truth is positive too. Telling people the truth is a form of positivity. Now, whether or not they receive it or not is going to be based on where they are in their mindset. But what I've realized is that when you start your day a certain way, it creates a certain mindset that when you're functioning during the day, you start to realize, okay, an hour has gone by and you're able to get a lot of things done because you have the energy, and that energy comes because you started your day intentional. And so you're not I've got, like today, I got a lot of things done. I mailed out a bunch of packages and stuff like that. For those that order my necklace collection, you guys got to go to my website. I've got some amazing jewelry pieces. I've got Queen, Boss, I've got some that says Miss Boss, Black Queen. It's amazing. You guys go to my website, inspirationalhealth.com, www.inspirationalhealth.com, and I'll have it playing at the bottom for those of you that didn't catch it. You can watch it at the bottom of the screen because I've been like changing them, on and off. So as you get a chance, just check and see, check and see, if you like jewelry like me, you like statement pieces, then you'll love my inspirational jewelry. So back to what I'm saying is, so when you start your day and you're intentional, right, and you start to feel you start to, and you're eating right, because remember we talked about how important it is to eat right and not starting your day with the right foods, because you got to realize you're breaking your fast. When you get up in the morning, you're breaking your fast. So when you get up, you want the first thing to be you want the first thing to enter your body is something that's going to add energy to your body. It's going to help sustain you mentally, because some of us, depending on what you have going on today, you might have a lot of stuff that you have to face that day. And so if you start your day and you're intentional about how you start your day, it'll affect your energy level. Right. So if you're starting your day and you're drinking water first thing in the morning and you're meditating, drinking your water and eating fruits and vegetables, eating fruit, first thing in the morning versus, a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit, or, if you're just starting your day with just giving yourself fruit, a banana, some berries, or something like that, your body, I'm telling you, is going to feel completely different. You're going to have the energy to do whatever it is that you need to do. And that time that you spend in that daytime is going to be productive. You're going to get a lot of stuff done because you have mental clarity and you have physical strength, right? So energy is nothing but strength and vitality. And in order for you to have strength and vitality, you got to implement those things that we talked about. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm telling you, I was just so full. I didn't know. It's crazy because as much as I do these broadcasts, sometimes I be wondering, like, man, it's the planning behind this that really takes a lot of the time. And it requires me to do a lot of thinking and thinking about my life and things that I want to talk about. This is talking like on live is not an easy thing, but it gets to become easier the more you do it. And the more intentional you are with it, it starts to get a little bit easier. So I would like to say I'm getting a little bit better at this. I'm getting more comfortable with being able to share all the things that are on my heart and all the knowledge and information that I have learned. So if you guys like my signature collection of jewelry, make sure I got it down at the bottom of the screen right here. I think it is. It's the Queen Collection necklaces. Make sure you go to Inspirational Health I think it's .store. I'm sorry, I said .com earlier. It's .store. Inspirational Health .store. And not only is it just inspirational and not, just statement pieces of necklaces. But there's sometimes we need some, some of us are coffee drinkers, tea drinkers. I also have inspirational mugs. So, they're great gifts for the holidays when you're actually, if you're thinking about giving somebody something, give them the gift of encouragement. Why don't we do that this year? Give them the gift, give them my wisdom planner and journal so that they can plan their year. For those of you that have not picked up the Becoming a Woman of Proverbs wisdom planner and journal, make sure you go to my website and get the planner and journal, because January is right around the corner. And you don't want to wait to January before you start planning your day, right? Make sure that you go to my website, womanofproverbscoaching.com, and look at all the things that we have available that's going to help. I'm a life and business coach, inspirational life and business coach. And I just believe that if we're intentional with some of the things that we do, when it comes to guarding our mental health and guarding the decisions that we make, it affects every area of our life. We invest in a whole lot of stuff. We invest in our hair, we invest in our nails, we invest in our clothes. But this year, let's make it a habit of investing in our emotional and our mental health. So this year, do something different. Give your family and friends the gift of encouragement. Make sure you visit my website at www.inspirationalhealth.store and look at some gifts look at some of the inspirational mugs or statement pieces, necklace. If you see a woman, if you have a woman in your life and she's dealing with discouragement, right? And she doesn't see herself as the queen that she is, give her a statement piece necklace to remind her. Sometimes that's all we need is a visual to be reminded. I went into the store, right? Let me tell you how powerful these statement pieces are. So I went into the store, right? I'm just going to get some gas. And as I was going to get gas, this guy opened the door for me and he said, "You don't have to rush, queen. You are a queen. Take your time. I'll hold the door all day if I need to." And though it may seem a little bit like corny and stuff like that, I realize that I get a lot of attention from my necklace because it's a statement piece. People look at my necklace and say, "Oh, wow, that's awesome. Where'd you get that from?" And then I redirect them to my store. So you never know who might be encouraged by your statement piece of your necklace. So give somebody the gift and remind them who they are. You are a queen. You are a queen. God said his thoughts about you are good and not evil. These necklaces are beautiful statement piece to be able to encourage your mother, your sister, your aunts, your cousins, or maybe a neighbor or a coworker. So be a blessing, and then you give a gift of encouragement for the holidays this year. So that's all I have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you. Today is Tuesday, so I will see you on Friday at Sisterhood Check-In with our special guest, Shalima Broster. I'm excited. I can't wait to dialogue with her, to see all the wonderful Shalina talk about health. I'm telling you, this woman has lost, battling with, diabetes, and wound up, turning around her diabetes and her A1C just from diet. I'm going to refrain from the word diet, just from the way her lifestyle. She changed her lifestyle, her eating lifestyle and exercise. Just simple, basic moving day by day, 30 minutes a day. And so we're going to talk about that and go over that. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you join if you haven't signed up for our newsletter. Make sure you go to make sure you sign up in the there's, I think, above in the comments in one of the previous posts, it has where you can actually register for our newsletter to find out all the amazing, wonderful things that we're doing and get to see all of our previous broadcasts. So make sure you do that. And if you have any questions or comments about tonight's broadcast, put it in the comments, as I always say, and let's dialogue together. Let's engage. Let's engage in conversation. If you weren't able to watch it and you're watching if you weren't able to watch it live, make sure you put #replay. Let me know where you're watching from and how much you are enjoying our broadcast. So I will see you on Friday with Sisterhood Check-In. I hope you guys have an amazing week. Until next time, have a great evening.
I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord that I wake again. I wake again. I pray the Lord that I now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord that I wake again. I wake again. I pray the Lord that I wake.